right, so let's wrap things up with improvisation a little bit. Before I really get to my conclusion, though, I want to really quickly run through my transcription process. Transcribing means writing down a solo or something off of a recording, basically figuring out what it is and either writing it down or learning to play it. I have a personal sort of method for transcription, and it's many steps, and you don't necessarily have to do all the steps, but all the steps is the most effective way to transcribe something and assimilate it into your playing in your ear. So basically, the first thing you do is you take the solo and you listen to it a lot. You really get into it. You listen to it over and over and over again. Parts you like, that listen to them again and again. Just really try to get to where you can visualize like how the shapes and the phrases and you know, and continue to get as locked in with your ear as you can. Now, once you get to that point, I want you to learn how to sing the solo or the whatever you're transcribing. I want you to learn how to sing it. Start slowly and continuously learn to sing each little part until you have it memorized and you can sing it along with the solo exactly the way the solo sounds to the best of your ability. Okay? Now, once you have it memorized, test yourself. See if you can sing the whole solo without the recording. Now that you know that you have it in your mind, you don't know necessarily what the notes are, but you have the oral definition of the solo completely in your mind. I want you to pick up your instrument and learn the solo on your instrument. Now, at this point, that shouldn't be all that difficult because you've learned so much about what the notes are that once you start kind of figuring out what valve you got to press or where it is, it should come fairly quickly if you spent the time to where you can sing it from memory without the recording, because that is when you've taken it all the way. So now we're learning it with our instrument. You need to go piece by piece and get to where you can play excuse me, you can play the solo along with it exactly as it is. Once you can play along with the solo, along with the recording, exactly with it, exactly in time, in tune, with the exact same articulation, I want you to make sure that you can do it from memory, just as we did with the singing. So now we're getting to the point where you can play this solo from memory without the recording and sound exactly like the recording. Now at this point we've got it. We've basically got it. You can take it to the stage now. You're at that point. But what we're going to do for the final thing is actually what a lot of people do only, which is one of the biggest problems with transcription. Writing it down. A lot of people just sit down at a piano and just note by note they write it down, and they never learn how to play it on their instrument or anything. They just write it down, put it in a book. Maybe they just pull it up and play through it with their instrument, but they haven't memorized anything. They don't even really hear it that well. Now, write it down from memory. At this point, we've memorized everything about it that we need to write it down. You should be able to write it down without making any mistakes, note for note, from memory at this point. So that is the final thing. You've listened to it. You've learned how to sing it along with it. You've learned how to sing it from memory. You've learned how to play along with it on your instrument. You've learned how to play it from memory without the recording. And then, finally, you write the solo down on sheet music, and then you put it into a folder. And those are your transcriptions. So yes, like many other people, you will end up with a transcription folder. The difference is that you have learned each one of those transcriptions in and out. You can play them in exactly the way they are. You understand them. You have them. They are going to come out in your playing. It will be impossible to avoid it. Whereas other people will have a whole book of transcriptions that they've never done anything except for the writing down part, and not even with their own instrument. You do not want to fall into that trap. You want to do it the way I'm talking about, and if you don't do the entire process, you at least have to learn it on your instrument. If you're going to only write it down, you have to do it with your instrument, because you have to learn how to mimic the sound of what you are transcribing, not just the notes, the sound of it and the phrasing of it. Every detail that goes into making it what it is. So that is my transcription process. I guarantee that if you were to do that entire process on every transcription, you will gain 100 times as much benefit as other people are. And you'll also find that going through that rigorous of a process will make it easier the next time. And your ear will start getting better and better and better. And your ear will connect heard things to written down things. You know, the way that it should be thought of is that the sound comes first. A lot of times we play in band, we play classical music, we read the music, then the sound comes later. The music always comes after the sound. The composer that wrote the music heard the sound in his head before the sound was written down. So, with transcription, you need to do everything that has nothing to do with the writing of the sheet music first. And then you write it down, you archive it, you have it.